So having been a film fanatic for many, many years now, I know as well as anyone how time-consuming and frustrating being a movie fan can actually be. So I took a minute to write down what I think are the most important apps for movie fans to have. So let's get into it, with the first being the most obvious. I think something that every film fan already has downloaded, but if for some reason you don't, the Internet Movie Database, yes, IMDb, is probably the most frequently used thing in my phone when it comes to film. I open up this thing at least 5 to 10 times a day. I'm constantly looking at upcoming movies, what actors have been in what directors have done what, and so on and so forth. I consult this constantly for the year a movie was made, where it was filmed. The fact that I have a YouTube channel, I constantly need to look up information regarding a film that I'm about to review, and IMDb is pretty much my go-to the majority of times. Moving on to what I think is probably the most important app that I genuinely feel like not enough people have, and I constantly have to recommend all the time to people because people don't know where to find movies to watch them. Is it streaming somewhere? Typically people go to Netflix, type in the movie they're looking for. If it's not there, they go to Prime. If it's not there, they go over to HBO. If it's not there, so on and so forth. But there is an app that actually tells you exactly where everything is streaming, how much it costs, if it's there for members or if it isn't. And this app is called Just Watch, all one word. And one of the really cool features of Just Watch is that you can go in and actually edit the streaming services that you want to see displayed. So if all you have is access to Netflix and let's say Amazon Prime, you can just put those two options in there. If you want to add in free services like Tubi or Plex, you can do that as well. You can take out what you want and you can leave the rest. Also, in addition, another very helpful thing is that you can filter based on genre and other things. So when I'm looking for new horror films that just released, I will go on to Just Watch. I already have a preset in my phone that tells me all the horror that is brand new, where it is streaming, and the services that I specifically want to see results from. This is insanely helpful and helps me find, honestly, a lot of lesser known foreign films that randomly drop on something like Netflix or Amazon Prime. Another one that most people know about, but some people don't use and they should, is an app designed specifically for cataloging the movies that you've watched and keeping a record, log, list, what have you. And this one, of course, is Letterboxd. This one at first does take a little bit of getting used to, only because it has to become a habitual thing that you do to log every film you see. As a YouTuber who does horror movie reviews and wants to keep an accurate list of every film that I watched and the rating that I gave it, I have this as an option to go into after I watch the film, catalog it, and put it into the list of films that I watched. So then at the end of the year, I don't have to go back and think, what movies did I watch? Or consult my YouTube channel to try to type in, what films did I watch this year, and go through the list. I have one, and you can sort it by your ranking. You can sort it by all sorts of different things. This is the absolute best app for keeping your films that you've watched cataloged in any way that you want. You can write reviews, you can keep lists, and you can share them, and you can follow your friends. This is an absolute must. Now this one is for the collectors out there like myself who have so many films they honestly can't even remember all the films that they have at times. And this app is called I Collect. this is how I keep track of every single film that I own up here on my wall, so that I don't get confused at times when I'm at a store and I'm looking through things and I'm trying to remember, do I own this yet? When you own over 3,000 films like I do, trust me, you can forget. And the older you get, the more you can forget. But it doesn't just keep track of movies. You can also put in books or board games or video games or whatever. Now, this service does cost money. I do want to say that. I actually paid for the everything option. I did so after having purchased the movie option, but you can purchase the everything option later for a discounted rate. And I eventually did that because I keep track of pretty much everything I own in the iCollect app. I did have an issue with it at one point, but the team I contacted actually did fix my problem. It took a while and it was a bit of a hassle, but they did end up ironing it out for me, and I was going to be absolutely devastated if that couldn't be fixed. Now, you keep track of these by either A, scanning a barcode, or you can manually enter them. But let me tell you, when you have as many films as I do, this is an undertaking and takes tons and tons of time. And lastly, one I'm going to just throw on here for fun, because while researching this, I didn't find anything that I don't already use, honestly. I was looking for an app that could catalog and specifically was designed for upcoming releases, both in movies, TV shows, and video games and whatnot, because I do love all different forms of entertainment. I've never really found a site that does that well. I usually go to like upcominghorrormovies.com or something to find the upcoming horror movies, but there's not really a site that I have found that really does a good job of cataloging future releases and news regarding future releases. So if anyone has an app for that, I would love to know what it is. I just wish that we had a website or an app that compiled all of that together. But the last thing I'm going to mention here, because as I said, I did research different apps for this, and the one I found that I actually found to be pretty funny and I think would actually be kind of useful for a lot of people. And I'm not saying I wouldn't use this myself exactly. I just don't know how you exactly use it when you're not supposed to use your phone in the theater. But this app is called RunPee. Yeah, RunPee. And this is probably what you think it is. It is an app that tells you every specific film that is currently in theaters and what part of the film that you can leave the theater to go to the bathroom. The scenes that have the least impact, and while you're there, you can actually look at the information of what you might have missed while you were using the bathroom. This could be a great tool for somebody who has bladder issues, for people who never want to leave the theater and are always like, I don't want to miss anything, and they just have to go. I mean, it's not a terrible app to have. I didn't even know it existed until I researched this, and I think it's pretty clever. I just found it also pretty funny. But that's it. The 5 apps, 4 really, but we'll throw in the 5th. It might be something that's up somebody's alley, that I think that every film fan absolutely should have on their phone. I use all 4 of these all the time. Like the first 3, I use every day, multiple times a day, all the time. So for me, they're absolute musts. If you would like, in the description below, you can follow me on Letterboxd to keep up to date with everything I watch. I have now started logging literally everything that I watch in film. Unfortunately, they don't really do television series, which is a bummer. I wish that they would upgrade it to include video games and TV shows, but as of right now, it seems to mostly be relegated to film and film alone. So Letterboxd, get on it. But if I miss something, if there's something else that you absolutely think needs to be in every film fan's phone, then let me know. And of course, this isn't getting into streaming services. There's tons of those, and I'm not going to tell you which one that you should download, although Tubi is an amazing one. and I could never recommend it higher. Definitely let me know in the comments what apps you think are absolutely necessary for all film fans to possess. All right, guys, see you in the comments.